Hello and welcome to Football League World TV. This is the EFL betting show. We're going to be trying to give you all the sort of best tips and money makers ahead of an EFL weekend, which is looking a little bit uncertain at this point, but we're going to crack on through and try and make you a bit of money. I'm joined by Marcus Sally and Adam Jones this morning. Marcus, how are you doing?
Good morning, Ned. Yeah, really well, thank you. Had a bit of a stinker on the last betting show I appeared on, so I'm hoping to make up for that today. But yeah, I was about to go straight in with a banker on the Wycombe Bolton game, and then I realised that had been postponed this morning. So yeah, had to rejig a couple of things. But no, yeah, looking forward to running through my selections.
Well, Marcus, I had a couple of bets sort of come off last weekend, and now I'm in sort of the big seats. So who knows? You get a goal come off, you might be hosting next week as well. Adam, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. It's my debut here, so no bad history, no bad bets yet. But that's because I haven't made any. But honestly, it's been a struggle trying to find games to bet on because of all the postponements. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into it.
Certainly, hopefully a bit of beginner's luck for you then, Adam. As always, guys, a reminder to sort of click like on YouTube, head to subscribe to Football League World TV rather on YouTube, and also let us know in the comments your thoughts on our predictions, any of your bets, and also, please gamble responsibly, 18 plus and over. We start then with the banker as always, and I'll come to you first, Marcus.
Yeah, so this match was an angle that I could see throwing up into the value column, but I've ended up putting it as my banker, and that's West Bromwich Albion to win at Barnsley this evening. That's at 3-4 or 1.75 with Betway. West Brom are third, Barnsley are 23rd in just the raw table, but the expected goals data backs that up as well. West Brom actually sitting second, with Barnsley staying in 23rd place. Barnsley have only won one in their last 20 league matches in the Championship, which is just a historic, incredibly poor run. We have seen some maybe slight improvements under Poya Asbaghi, but it does look like Marcus Schopp has left them in such a bad place. It's going to take a while, or maybe some signings in the January transfer window, to really see that them start to maybe even compete against the drop this season. I think West Brom have turned the corner in recent weeks. We've seen the likes of Callum Robinson and Colin Grant combine to devastating effect. And I think it also does suit the Baggies to be playing away from home. There's Valérien Ismaël going back to Oakwell, adds a little bit of spice to the occasion. But I think because of the friction that there has been at the Hawthorns between the supporters and Ismaël and his methods, I think it might suit them to have a smaller Baggies following on the road, and of course go to a place where Barnsley have only won 2 matches this season. So yeah, I'm very happy to take them at 1.75. I think maybe the price is a little bit to do with some of the sort of absentees. West Brom having to name quite a makeshift side last weekend. Cauley Woodrow is a doubt for Barnsley, so I think that has to play into it quite a lot and give West Brom a lot more confidence going into this one. There's no way I can see Barnsley winning the game. West Brom have won their last 2 and can go level on points with Bournemouth this evening if they're able to get the win. So yeah, I'm happy to take West Brom. They love playing on a Friday night. So yeah, I think Ismaël can have a happy return.
Absolutely. Valérien Ismaël certainly looking to follow in sort of Steve Cooper's footsteps by sort of hammering his old team on Friday night. Adam, coming to you then, what's your banker?
Well, perhaps this is not a banker for many other people, but I think it is for me. Fulham and Sheffield United on Monday night, both teams to score. I just can't see both teams like not scoring on Monday evening. I think, obviously with Sheffield United, 5 goals in 2 games under Paul Heckingbottom. They've got plenty of options up front with the likes of McGoldrick, who can chip in, obviously just in behind. You've got Billy Sharp as well, Morgan Gibbs-White, Illiman and Dye. They've got plenty of options up top, even without Rhian Brewster in there. So they've got plenty of options to score. Obviously, they've got the playoffs in their sights as well, which will kind of play into their game plan. They're not going to sit back and want to kind of soak up pressure and go forward. They'll want to be attacking from the off, I think. Obviously, amid challenge from the likes of QPR, Stoke City, and Nottingham Forest as well have risen as well. For a playoff spot, I think they have to kind of come out and attack. So, I think they'll probably get themselves on the score sheet maybe once or twice. But I think their style of play and the way that they'll come out will suit Fulham to kind of exploit spaces, especially at home as well at Craven Cottage. is kind of a banker really for them to score at home. And obviously Mitrovic is kind of back in form now. I'm not really sure if we can call it a drought, kind of going 2 or 3 games without a goal, but for him it definitely is. But he's back on song now, so that will be good for him. Obviously Tosin as well, we've got his first goal against AFC Bournemouth and can show that he can kind of chip in from set pieces. So that's another weapon that they can utilise, as well as Sheffield United with the set pieces, perhaps with Hourihane on corners. And obviously I've got Muniz off the bench as well, and obviously the people behind Alexander Mitrovic. There's 3 players behind there that are going to be, in attacking midfield, that are going to be real assets. So for me, it has to be both teams to score. 8-11. It was 4-6 last night, but it's 8-11 at this stage. And I think for me, in my view, it's like printing free money. So that's my banker on that one.
Absolutely, 2 solid bets then to start. We move to the accumulators then, and we'll start once again with you, Marcus.
So just a threefold for me. If anyone's seen me on the betting show before, I'm not one for very outlandish accumulators. I've just gone for 3 short prices and put them together in something which is a bit of a slightly bigger price than I would probably usually bet on for a single selection. So it's just 2.24 to 1. Usually find something a little bit bigger than this, but with the sort of shrunken docket that we've got this weekend, this is what I've come up with. I've got Rochdale versus Newport County, both teams to score. Straight off the bat, that's both teams have scored in 8 of their last 10 matches. Rochdale have been underperforming their expected goals quite consistently, but not sustainably this season. They're a side that, even though they're sitting around mid-table, they are one of the better attacking teams in the division. You also probably went back against Dom Telford scoring, let alone Newport County at the moment. So I think they'll definitely be able to get one, at least one on their travels. I think that could be a goal-laden match. Then I've got Bradford plus 0.5 on the Asian handicap at Carlisle United. That simply just means Bradford to win or draw the game. Bradford somehow have only won 2 of their last 16 league games, but they have drawn 9 of those and only lost 5. So sort of 11 of that last 16 they haven't lost. So yeah, that's quite a positive run. And also with their underlying process, looking at expected goals, they've been trending as an automatic promotion side all season, just haven't been able to find the back of the net as often as the chances that they have created would suggest that they should. So I do think they are the better side at Carlisle, despite a poor recent one. Bradford have drawn 6 of their last 7 matches. So it just shows it. Hopefully they can keep the margins tight and just fall on the right side of that one. And then lastly, I've got Morecambe versus Fleetwood over 1.5 goals. I was tempted to get with a bit more goals and maybe put that as my banker, but I'm taking quite a short price on over 1.5. We all remember what happened in the reverse fixture with Cole Stockton grabbing that dramatic late winner. That was a 2-1 away to Fleetwood. Fleetwood have scored in 9 of their last 10 games. They're the 6th highest scorers in League One, and both of these sides, for me, attack is the best form of defence, and I think both the managers are aware of that. They'll definitely be looking for some defensive reinforcements in the January transfer window. So yeah, that's my threefold ACCA this week. Rochdale, Newport, both teams to score. Bradford plus a half on the Asian handicap, and Morecambe Fleetwood over 1.5 goals at 2.24 to 1. That's with Bet365.
Fantastic. And what about you then, Adam?
I've gone with a fivefold. I've gone all W's, all wins. So it's not really as adventurous as Marcus, but I thought I'd go with a slightly kind of ambitious one with 5. West Brom to win against Barnsley. I think that's pretty much a nailed on, as Marcus said in his banker. Obviously, as he said as well, Corley Woodrow might be out. He's a big doubt for this game. I think he's going to face a late fitness test. So I'm not really holding out that much hope for Barnsley at the moment. On the other hand, with West Bromwich Albion, they've got, I think, 4 returning players from COVID isolation that might be back. I heard 2 earlier on in the week, but I think there's 4 now. All 4 of them, Kipre, Bartley, no, not Bartley, Clark, Townsend, and Ajayi will all be back. So for them, that will be a massive boost, and I think it will be a much needed one. I think last week against Reading, the makeshift centre backs played really well, but I think nonetheless having natural players in their kind of natural positions will be a real boost for them. I think that will kind of push them on and that'll be enough for a win in the end. So I'd definitely go with West Brom. Nottingham Forest win versus Hull, maybe a little bit of a dangerous one, but I think the fact that Nottingham Forest at the moment, they look formidable. Know that Hull City have been in a decent run of form at the moment, but it seems like nothing can stop Forest at the moment with the setup that they have. Obviously, they reverted with a back three last week, and obviously they have Osei Tutu back as well, who's going to be a real asset kind of as a wing back, and I think they're going to play reasonably decently as well with the back three. With the likes of McKenna and Worrell, I think that's their real strength. Despite Zinkernagel and Grabban up front, I think the back line is their real strength. So I think they'll be able to keep Hull at bay, no problems whatsoever. And obviously, as I said, you have got the likes of Grabban and Zinkernagel and Brennan Johnson that can cause problems. So for me, that's probably going to be something to nil win. I've just gone with a pure win without any scoreline to kind of play it a bit safe. I think perhaps the most dangerous one for me in this one is a Sunderland away win at Ipswich. I think it'll take a little bit of time for Kieran McKenna's kind of philosophy to bed in. Obviously, Ipswich Town haven't been really the best under John McGrill at all, so it's going to take a little bit of time for McKenna to bed in. Obviously, he is an inexperienced manager as well, so that obviously has to come into play as well. And up against the atmosphere as well, obviously Ipswich will be under pressure to deliver a result, and I think Sunderland won't be fazed by the Portman Road atmosphere because they play at the Sunderland Light. So I think for me it has to be a Sunderland win. I'm not sure if it'll be a massive Sunderland victory, but I think it will be one nonetheless. Rotherham away win at Cambridge. I think I can always rely on Paul Warne to get me a result. Obviously Rotherham are at the top at the moment, unbeaten in God knows how many, and are doing very well at this stage as well. I know that they've picked up a few draws on the way, but that's kind of part and parcel of an unbeaten run. And for me, it has to be Rotherham to kind of as a kind of safer option. I know that they're away from home, but still, I think it's a pretty safe one. And finally, I'm going to dip down into League Two and go with Forest Green Rovers against Mansfield. I think Mansfield have been in a reasonably decent kind of form under Nigel Clough at this stage. But Forest Green Rovers, I think, have been, the most consistent team, perhaps maybe one of the most consistent teams of the whole EFL. Obviously, the likes of Fulham and Bournemouth in the Championship are not all that consistent at the moment with their draws, and obviously AFC Bournemouth have picked up a couple of losses, and in League One as well, it's a very competitive league in there. So I'm perhaps brave to pick 4 out of my 5 from Championship and League One, but I think a safe one for me in League Two will have to be Forest Green. All of my bets are with Sky Bet, and I'm going to go, I think it's 20.83 to 1. So that's not a bad price, I don't think. If you put a fiver on, then, you could be into triple figures. And I think for me, that would be a decent bet to have.
Absolutely. Certainly a bit for everyone in the ACCAs there, a sort of a shorter and a longer one. Well, we move next then to our value bet. This is where sort of our writers have picked out something where they think the bookies have sort of given a little bit too much value and misjudged something there. Marcus, we'll start again with you. What have you gone for?
So I've got Huddersfield Town 0 on the Asian handicap, which is exactly the same as a draw no bet. So if the match ends in a draw, your stake is returned. If Huddersfield win the game at your beloved Bristol City, Ned, we get a full payout. That's at 2.02 with Bet365, so just a tickle above even money. Bristol City have only won 3 home games this season. 2 of them came against the bottom 2 teams in the division, Barnsley and Derby, and another one was a 1-0 win over a slightly injury-hit Stoke City side. All 3 just by the 1 goal, so no sort of comfortable viewing at Ashton Gate so far this season. Also, Huddersfield, they haven't won in their last 4 and haven't won an away game since September. So I'm not talking my selection down a little bit there, but of course we've got the draw on side here. Bristol City are actually going in as narrow favourites, so it's quite a big price on both teams here. But Huddersfield were leading into second half additional time, which has cost so many teams this season against Coventry City. Matty Godden popping up with an equaliser last weekend, but it was a very positive performance from the Terriers, and they'll be looking to cut the gap on the playoff places once again after a really positive first half of the season. So my main angle for this one. So I just disagree that Bristol City are narrow favourites. I don't think Huddersfield should be overwhelming favourites, but I think maybe they're a little bit too big to ignore. So yeah, just above even money. I'm happy to take that with, of course, the extra insurance that we get our stake back if the game ends in a draw.
Certainly a fairly safe one, Marcus. I don't think you'd find too many Bristol City fans that would disagree with you that Huddersfield should be certainly narrow favourites on that. Adam, coming to you then, what's your value bet?
I think mine is less safe, but it's longer odds. I've got Blackburn versus Birmingham City. I'm looking at the game kind of in general. Obviously, defensively, Blackburn have been superb in recent games, and that's got to be a credit to the likes of Wharton, Lenihan, Tony Mowbray as well for playing his part. But it's going to be a goal scoring bet, my one. There's an option on Sky Bet to do 2 goal scorers, and I've gone with Ben Brereton Diaz, and I've gone with Troy Deeney as well, who's been in a decent run of form in recent games. That's 6-1, which I thought was a very good price, to be honest, considering how reliable the 2 goal scorers are. And I think for me that would be a decent bet to put on. Obviously, Brereton Diaz has got, I think it's 17 goals in 22 games. Obviously, Troy Deeney hasn't been as potent this season, but he's getting into goal scoring form now. Has scored quite a bit in recent games. Took his chance last weekend against Cardiff City, and also had scored a good goal as well against Millwall. Speaking about that game, I think I'm backing Blackburn Rovers to win, not just because of the home advantage, but because of the fact that Birmingham was so poor at the Den, kind of defensively. So yeah, I've gone with Ben Brereton Diaz and Troy Deeney to score 6-1 with Sky Bet. And I think it's probably perhaps worth a few quid on that one, because that looks like a pretty long odds to me. Too long.
Absolutely. Certainly 2 strikers very high in confidence at the moment. Finally, then we'll move to our wildcard selections. The wildcard selection is, of course, where our panel gets to pick a little something special or something unusual. And I believe Marcus Alley has something very special for us this week. Over to you, Marcus.
Right, so sticking at Ewood Park for my wildcard selection this week, I do want to get Blackburn on side, as Adam's just hinted towards. They've kept 4 clean sheets in a row, and Birmingham City haven't won an away game since August. So I'm going into the Bet365 bet builder for this one, and it's Blackburn to win, Ben Brereton Diaz to score any time, and under 2.5 goals. Now, those 3 selections combined in the bet builder comes in at 15-2. However, if we use a method called Dutch staking, which if you want any more information on, you can just Google it. There's also a Dutch staking calculator on Odds Checker, which is a strategy where you split your stake to put on 2 bets, maybe even more, around the same sort of angle into a match, just to enhance the odds, essentially. So the 2 scores with that 3 selections in the one match that are possible for it to come in would be a Blackburn 1-0 win or a Blackburn 2-0 win, because I've said Blackburn to win and under 3 goals. The only way that can happen is 1-0 or 2-0. Now, if you put those into the threefold instead of under 3 goals, you're going to get a better price. So if you use the same stake that you would have put on to the original one, which is 15-2, Blackburn to win, BBD to score any time under 3 goals. But instead of the under 3 goals, put in correct score 1-0, then the 3 would come in at 16-1, or correct score 2-0, that comes in at 14-1. So even with a less stake, if it does come in, you're going to be making more money than if you just put in the under 3 goals. I hope I've made myself clear with that. Any questions? My DMs are open on Twitter. So yeah, hopefully that's been made clear. But yeah, so it's kind of 2 for the price of 1. Blackburn to win, Ben Brereton Diaz to score, and then either, or I'm probably going to split my stake over both selections. Blackburn correct score to win 1-0 or 2-0. So yeah, there's my wild card for this week.
Well, there can certainly be no complaints about that wild card, and then certainly no one suggesting that on the EFL betting show we don't teach you something every week. Coming to you then Adam, no pressure after that. It's only a wild card after all.
Yeah, I feel a bit boring after that one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Barnsley versus West Brom. I'm going to go back there. I think we've already had 2 previous kind of bets on this show, but I'm going to go back for a third because why not? For tonight's game, I've got Carlin Grant down as first goal scorer and a 4-0 win for West Brom. I know it's quite a bold one, but I think the fact that they've already won 4-0 away from home against Cardiff City, obviously they won 4-0 at home as well against Sheffield United, and they haven't been as clinical recently. And that's one thing that Valerian Ismail keeps on banging on about, is that they need to be more clinical. And I think that's right in my opinion. They had so many chances against Reading that they just didn't take any. Obviously, the quality of chance creation can be questioned as well, and the style of play. But also the fact that they didn't take their chances. I think Callum Robinson was slightly guilty of that. So Carlin Grant for me, kind of his partner in that kind of front three, along with another one. I think we'll get on the score sheet first. Obviously, he did it at the Coventry Building Society Arena, and I think that he's been a decent enough goal scorer for West Brom. Kind of gone under the radar because of people like Mitrovic and Brereton Diaz, but Colin Grant scoring first for me, and a 4-0 scoreline with all their players, defensive players coming back as well, which will be a big boost, as I said earlier, and also as we also said earlier with Corley Woodrow out, and they might kind of really struggle to score if he isn't involved in any shape or form. I think for me, if they're going to score, then they'll probably need him starting and not on the bench. As long as he's not starting, then I think that West Brom can keep a clean sheet, especially with their defenders coming back. And I think they're due quite a big victory, and obviously they're in a good run at the moment. So Carlin Grant to score first, 4-0 scoreline for West Bromwich Albion against Barnsley, and Sky bet 70-1 when I looked at 7:30. Obviously, I think it was 75-1 when I looked last night. So the odds are slightly shortened, but not enough for me to take this out of my wild card. So 70-1.
70-1, some sort of big odds there, but it's perhaps been a difficult watch, this EFL betting show, for any Tigers fans out there. That is everything for the EFL betting show this week. Just a reminder, of course, 18 plus only, and please gamble responsibly. At 4 p.m, we've got the EFL weekend preview show with Billy Mully and Chris Gallagher. A reduced sort of schedule this weekend, as we said, but still certainly one worth checking into. But for now, just to say thank you to Marcus and Adam, and thanks for everyone for watching.